he has never cheated us as fans. He has played through injuries and we have 5 championship banners to show for it. In a lot of people's opinion, there is no one who has worked harder than Michael Jordan. But after watching this video, there will be no doubt in your mind that Kobe has actually worked the hardest in the history of the NBA. Kobe, when he was 3, used to roll his dad's socks and would shoot imaginary buzzer beaters. He never saw the end of the tunnel. He only saw himself running out of one. When his parents got him the first NBA basketball, he would sleep with him. Any identity takes form in due course of time, but I believe the Mamba started developing in Kobe since his childhood and took its final form on March 15, 2004. Moving to Italy at 6 years old, basketball became a way for a kid from Philly to get not necessarily fit in but be accepted, which all kids are in search of at that age. Fast forward to a 13-year-old Kobe who found himself back in Philadelphia getting ready for his freshman year, where he was skinny in comparison to his fellow Americans. So once again, basketball will be the vessel he used for acceptance. He brought school championships year after year, but fitting in wouldn't be as easy. At this point, he was culturally different than his time in Italy. So instead of trying to fit in, he separated himself even further. This is where he decided to alchemize his negative energy to fuel. We all know how far that fuel took him. Did he rely on it too much? You know what they say, greatest strength is your weakness. Donald Nathanson said, a relentless search for personal defects as if the achievement of perfection in the present might cause bad old days of the past. Ultimately, I believe Kobe's pursuit of acceptance is what drove him. Once he discovered the power of his anger and hatred, he purposefully created it, even though at his core, he wanted to be loved. On 15 March 2004. At the time, Kobe was going through some serious off-the-court issues. He was dealing with some acquisitions in and out of court. To make matters worse, Kobe and his wife were going through a tough time and Kobe got kicked out of his own house. I can only imagine what he was going through, but this was just days before he had to face off against Orlando and T-Mac. So, the night of the game, he took the court as always, but Kobe wasn't playing like Kobe.
First time he says he's never felt like he wanted to even be at a basketball game. He couldn't concentrate at all. Felt like he's lost everything at one point in the first.
Max said he didn't even recognize the guy. He was passive, he wasn't taking any shots. Moreover, T-Mac was lighting Kobe up and had already racked up 21 points against him.
The Magic were up by 11 by halftime.
Judging by the way Kobe was playing, they were confident that they had the game. But it was this series of events which led to the most important moment of Kobe's career. During halftime in the locker room, Kobe put everything into perspective. I remember sitting in the locker room at halftime, saying to myself, you know, you may lose everything in life because of the situation you have put yourself in. You may lose your family and freedom, but I will be damned if I lose basketball, because this I can control. The moment when Kobe became the Black Mamba. Taking the court in second half, he immediately played a very different game of basketball. It didn't take long for people to notice. T-Mac recalls immediately seeing a difference in Kobe's game emotionally and physically.
Second half, totally different story. Totally different dude. This dude came out and was kicking our butts.
Kobe was pulling everything. Off the dribble, pulling. Double team, pulling. goes up in the paint, draws contact, expecting the foul, pulling, and still gets the bucket.
The Lakers pushed the game in overtime and got the win, where he finished the game with 38 points with 24 in just the fourth quarter. The man went from 1 point in the first half to 37 points in the second. That too against the team which would be the future face of the NBA and his rival T-Mac. Imagine what he was going through at the time, because he didn't know that if he was going to be in jail or playing basketball in a year's time. But this change lasted much longer than one night. Kobe used to average 18 points per game till that night. But then he began to average 31 points the following weeks. He was a changed man, and I think any successful individual might face overbearing situations of difficulties in order to be successful. The difference between those who are good and those who are great is the ones who face these challenges and not back down from them. The Mamba mentality simply means
trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day, you're trying to become better
than yesterday. Kobe's hard work and dedication to basketball was something he learned at a very young age, because by the time he was in high school, he had already got an intense workout. He would wake up at 4:30 and show up at practice for 5 a.m. and then he would leave for school at 7 a.m. He would make benchwarmers play him to 100, and his worst game, he won 100 to 12.
And I had to get his work ethic because I was a little bit more reserved and never been around, somebody work as hard as he did. And I learned that from him. Yeah, I had the athleticism, but the work ethic part I had to get from being around him. He likes to play mind games, and he always trying to get an edge on whoever, his opponents, whatever. I don't care if I'm his friend, whatever.
Right.
So, I told him, I said, I'm about to go work out. And he was like, what are you going to work out for? You're in the off season. Like, you don't need to work out. And I'm looking at him like, okay. So, all right, go back to my room, change.
Take it easy.
Chill for a minute. I go to the weight room. Who's in there? This dude. This dude. And I'm looking like, what? Okay. So I had to start taking notes like, this dude right here. So he's always going to have an edge on somebody.
He had a hard time understanding what sarcasm was. I was just being sarcastic.
Already had a year in the league, taking advantage of a young boy,
I'm just going to get to it now. So you have told a story about the two of you on a trip to Germany,
yes,
where y'all played one-on-one supposedly in a gym, and according to you, you won.
I
did win.
He supposedly smoked. We didn't play one-on-one.
First of all, did you go to Germany?
We did play one-on-one.
We wasn't keeping score. What we were doing.
Who wasn't keeping score?
Cole. What we were doing, we were working on our footwork on the post. We were working out individually, and then we were working on our stuff on the post. We wasn't keeping score. We was playing.
Now, if somebody's playing a workout, and if the person scores, they keep the ball. What is that?
We wasn't keeping score.
Have you ever been with him where he wasn't keeping score,
That's
though?
the question.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
That's the question.
Now that you know him, has he ever, please, he has a cup of coffee and keeps score about who finishes
first. If he was
first.
keeping score, I wasn't keeping score. But
11-3.
What?
11-3.
I
This is
don't
11-3.
remember that.
I'm not going to pull a number out of thin air. I remember specifically.
You can't believe the guy that doesn't even know the location where we were playing at.
It's a different country, but that's fine.
Different country.
Now,
Right.
forget
This
my
was, by
memory
the way,
because
21
we've
years
jumped
ago?
a lot
You know
of
what
different
I'm
countries.
Yes.
Now, the
trip.
country may be off. Now, I may forget a lot of things.
You forgot where we played.
One thing I'm not going to forget is the score.
It wasn't 11-3.
Oh, it was. It's okay, though.
No, it wasn't.
It's all right,
11-3.
man. You had an off day. It's okay. It happens.
Germany, Paris, 11-3.
Whatever.
When he went to Orlando, and we were trying to win our championships in LA, so I absolutely buried myself even more so in the craft and literally cut everybody out of my life and just focused on that. But I remember in the playoffs, you guys were playing the Milwaukee Bucks in 1 year, and me and Vanessa went out to lunch and went to a restaurant, and they had TVs in a restaurant. I remember sitting there and watching. You just were looking big though. I mean, just like, I think he called him Puppy Dog, was it?
Puppy Dog.
And I remember sitting in the restaurant watching that and telling V, I said, man, that dude's the real deal. He's made it. I mean, we started out like as youngins together, but I remember feeling like such a sense of joy because of what he was doing. So even though I've never actually told him that, there's a sense of pride, and that's as mushy as I'm going to get. That's the extent of that.
I accept.
We were playing against the Lakers, Tom, and we were out here in LA. So the game was at 7. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come to the Staples Center because we're playing. This is when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq. Okay, this is like the championship Lakers. So you know, I'm gonna get there at 3 o'clock. And I want to make sure I make 400 made shots before I go back into the room, and then I sit in the sauna and I get ready for the game. So, you know, get in the car, get to the gym, get there, and as I'm walking onto the court, who do I see? I see Kobe Bryant, already working out. So once I set my foot across that line, I started working out. And so I worked out for a good hour and a half. And when I came off, after I was done, I sat down, and of course I still heard the ball bouncing. I look down, I'm like, this guy's still working out. He was working out for like, it looks like he was in a dead sweat when I got here. Right. And he's still going. And it's not like his moves are nonchalant or lazy. He's doing like game moves, you know? I sit there and I unlace my shoes. I'm like, I want to see how long this goes. So I sit out there and watch 25 minutes. And he got done. I said, okay, I think I've seen enough. Go play, you know, come back, get in the sauna, get ready for the game. That game, he drops 40 on us, okay? And after the game is over, I'm like, I have to ask this guy. Like, I have to understand, like, why he works like that. Right. So after the game is over, I'm like, hey, Kobe, like, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in. And I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you.
Let's take a look at why Kobe is the way he is. First thing I wanted to investigate was, is there a competitive gene? Why do some athletes seem to want more? It appears that through all the research that has been done, all the conclusions are subjective. No one has pointed out an actual strand of DNA that some possess and others don't. So nature versus nurture conundrum appears again. So I started to take a look for common personality traits among LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe. The first thing that stuck out was that they were all difficult people to hold relationships with. They had that edge, or what I like to call the asshole gene. Is this a personality trait they have learned from their environment, or they were predisposed to this trait? Enter oxytocin. Oxytocin is a powerful hormone. It acts as a neurotransmitter in brain, also known as the love hormone. It is released during childbirth, sex, and any kind of intimate bonding. It influences social emotional behavior. People with higher level of oxytocin show high levels of empathy and compassion. But not getting too far into science, people like LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan have lower levels of oxytocin, which means they are less empathetic and compassionate towards others. Now, in our personal life, this could be considered a weakness, but as an athlete, I would have no doubt that this is a competitive edge. You simply care less about your opponents, being able to crush their spirits without blinking an eye. Before 2012 Olympics, he told his trainer that he wanted to add no biking into his workout. The night all the players got to Las Vegas for USA basketball camp, instead of going to sleep, Kobe went for a 40-mile bike ride and finished at 2 a.m. Of course, he was back working with his team 7:30 in the morning. During the camp, trainers gave Kobe their numbers and he called one to ask him to come up to the gym for some conditioning work at 3 a.m. 20 minutes later to the gym to find Kobe drenched in sweat already. So they did their conditioning and strength training for about 2 hours. Then the trainer went home and Kobe went back to shooting. The trainer went home to get any sleep he could because he had to meet the team back at 11. He said, I walked into the gym and saw LeBron talking to Carmelo, Coach K talking to KD, and saw Kobe shooting in the background by himself. I approached him. The trainer said, great workout this morning. When did you finish? He said, "Oh, just now. I wanted to get 800 jump shots, at least." No telling when he actually got into the gym, but the man had been working out for at least 7 hours before starting the Team USA workout, which was gonna last all day. Just like he let Jay Williams know. I think this was his way of letting the best players in NBA know that nobody was gonna even come close to outworking him. He had put in the work to be compared to Michael Jordan. In an interview with Phil Jackson, someone asked if Carmelo should model his game after Kobe. Phil said nobody should model their game after Kobe because he trains harder than anyone, even Michael. He also said that Michael wouldn't be happy with him saying that, but he had watched both players work and he knew Kobe worked harder. He used to call random entrepreneurs, pick up their brains and ask questions that might be simple to them, but it was about stuff he didn't understand. Kobe said that he had an obsession in learning business and he would randomly text entrepreneurs at 3 a.m. for random questions. The specific time was when billionaire investor Chris Sacca told Kobe that he needed to do his homework on business. So for the next couple of months, Sacca said his phone never stopped ringing even in the middle of the night. Kobe would ask him a bunch of questions about articles, TED Talks, etc. Sacca said that it was as if for those months Kobe never stopped studying.
Absolutely beautiful, you guys. I can't believe it's come to an end. You guys will always be in my heart. And what can I say? Mamba out.